Welcome to my attempt at solving the JavaScript practice evaluation difficult problem. I have opened up the problem. It says I need to copy the following template into my htdocs, name the file jsdiff. So let's create a new HTML file, jsdiff. Let's try to make that a little bigger so you can see what's going on. I don't need any of that. Let's grab, copy, save it. Oh, forgot to start my timer. Okay, so let's check on my Apache web server. It is running, so let's go and look at localhost ICS 215 F14 because that's the directory I put my stuff. See if it's being served, and it is. So I need to download this file. Okay, and I need to put it in my htdocs directory. quizdiff.json. So I need a new file, quizdiff.json. Paste that, save it. Now you may be wondering why I'm saving the data onto my htdocs directory. Well, JavaScript doesn't allow me to fetch pages from a separate server when the pages are being served by a server. So in this example, my web page is being served by my Apache web server on localhost, so I can only make AJAX requests to localhosts. So I can't do a AJAX request to cam or github.io. I'll get an error, as we'll see later. So what do? I need to use AJAX to grab the JSON data from there. So let's JavaScript AJAX example. Ooh, AJAX JSON example. Simple AJAX example. I don't think I like that. Let's use jQuery. Because jQuery makes AJAX so much easier. So it's a URL. Done. Let's see if we can get an example. Let's do shorthand methods. Do a get, because I just want to get the data. So copy. Well, let's do this. jQuery get URL data success data type. So back to diff, and here we want to say $.get. That's my AJAX. So the URL. Let's try this and see what happens. So let's just try that and see what happens. And I'll show you the cross-scripting error. So I open my console and reload the page, and I get this error: HTTP request cannot load, no access control from localhost. So because I got the page from localhost, I can't access this other website, this other server. So I need to change that URL to the web. So it's localhost, and I know that's the correct directory, and I put it in that directory, so I should be able to just do that. Now, reload the page, and I didn't get the error, but that wasn't very useful because I got the data and I needed to do something with the data. So now let's look to get. So data is something I would send. Success is the function. Data is plain object or type. A plain object string that's sent to the server with the request. Well, I don't need any, so I'll just send an empty string, and then this function data. Well, type function receives the data from the URL and the status of it and this JQXHR. These are all optionals, so I'll just do data turn, and I will print data. Oh no, let's do console log. Don't be stupid. So I'll log the response that I get from the web server. So I reload it, and you can see I have gotten the data from my web server, and it's logged, and it's a JSON object. So I need to convert a string into a JSON object, and there's jQuery get JSON. Success is a data. So each data function key val. Okay, so we can call an each on the data. Let's try this. See what we get. But we change that to so what's going to happen when we run it? We see that it looped through this and said we have an object that's an object that's an object. So it's looped through each item in the data saying key and value, creating a key and a value. So let's inspect the elements. So it's of type quote, and it's actually an array. So we ended up getting the quote, and it's an array, so we need to find the length of the array. So JavaScript string to JSON. I believe it's JSON.parse. say back up here, var JSON equals J paste that, the JSON string is data, console log JSON, excuse me, go back to the console. So we've got an quote and it's an array of 5, so how do I JavaScript get length of an array? I think it's just dot length. Yep. So we know that it's quote, so we can then say var array is equal to JSON sub quote var len equals r dot length. Or we could loop over the array. Through the array. Okay. Very lame. Okay, for var I equals 0, I is less than len I plus plus, var line equals r sub I, console dot log line. I no longer need that. Reload. Okay, so we have an object that's text. So let's grab its text. Reload it. And we have each line is there correctly. So now I need to match or select out. I need to put the verbs into this paragraph. So JavaScript expression match select var res, it's going to string match. Okay, looks good to me. So it looks like the stir match method uses regular expressions. So for and we get an array. So var verbs equals line dot match slash what do we want? We want w star say ed space plus space plus. So I want one or more spaces around the words, and we say I. Console log verbs. We go back and we run it. Promised, need, abandoned, heightened, stripped. Okay. So the match is an array, and the array sub 0 is the thing. So if verbs dot length greater than 0, so we got a match. $sign put verbs here dot append and we'll say verbs sub 0. See what that does. Promised, need, abandoned, heightened, and shipped. So need is not correct. If sub 0 is not equal to need. Let's see if that works. Ooh. Oh, there's spaces around it. There's spaces around the need, around all those words. So now I don't have the need. Now we should attach it to the button. So now we can say $sign button dot click need this example. Need the comment. I don't need this semicolon. Refresh. It's still executing. So now I actually created a function, so when I click the function, this function will execute. And I've put the verbs in there, and I still have got heightened. So Let's see if I had any verbs I did not get. So let's go here. So let's, at this point, let's say, since I've got 10 minutes left, fool around. I want to say add, well, it looks like I only have one row, so I'll do it that way. Row dot append data. Refresh. So I now have the whole text. Melville had promised, so I got promised the book would be ready autumn in expectation of which is sent in advance. He was sent. Of 150, his financial situation was poor and he was desperately in need. The publishing says he abandoned the nearly finished romance to spend entire year rewriting under spell of intense intellectual ferment, further heightened. I have heightened. Heightened is verb. Developing friendship with Nessa, the resulting work was finally shipped. Bentley. Figure that's close enough. If I will not grade off if you claim that I'm missing one or two. Pretty good. I got rid of the need, which was obviously not a good one. So we'll take out this line. But the key is I'm using the jQuery get method to get the data. I have to supply a callback method or a function that takes the resulting return value, and this will be on the success. So if there was a failure, like if I change the URL, reload, press the button, I get the error, but nothing happened. I don't get an error text or anything. So you can see I've got the error here, but I did not get the text in there. So if I go back, so this function was not called. So now, since I fixed that, the function will get called and it successfully, I get the data back from the URL. I then call the string match. So I got the data, turn it into JSON object, pull the array out of the JSON object after looking at what the data was, then get its length, loop over it, grabbing each line of text, then matching them against a regular expression to find the past tense verbs. Check to see that there was a match. If the verbs are not equal, because there was a word need that is not past tense verb, and then append the verb to the p HTML element, and the resulting, I get these appended correctly, and I have solved the problem. So now, after 23 minutes, I can email this file to myself, and I have successfully completed the JavaScript difficult assignment. Thank you for your attention.